She Quest Podcast is heart-opening dialogues for self-identified women on a She Quest, a movement moving forward, striving to live aware, bold, and whole. Welcome. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marianne Williamson. Welcome to your first She Quest Summer School podcast series. I'm your host, Estelle Thomson. This first show is all about women and power. I hope you use this short radio show as a self-exploration tool for personal growth. Being on a She Quest is striving to live aware, bold, and whole. We always start with the soul inquiry. What makes you feel alive today? Today, what makes me feel alive is warm summer rain and sparkly grapefruit flavored water. So before I started studying the divine feminine and doing my own She Quest through books, guiding women's circles, yoga, symbol work, and painting, I had no idea what power and being powerful meant other than physical capabilities and being some kind of CEO or political or star figure. And to tell you the truth, that kind of bothered me that the people I thought were most powerful, well, first, they were men. And second, they were well known. And all of this really did not sit well with me. But because I want to learn what it means to live aware, alive, and awake in today's new conversation around womanhood, and I know that it's only when and if I am self-aware that I can change that very same conversation, I begin exploring that word power in all its dimension. And not only this, but I had to ask myself, what did it mean to feel powerful in my body at 37 years old? Then I went on to ask myself, okay, so what does it mean to be powerful emotionally and in my mind? And then I went on to, what does it mean to feel powerful in my spiritual life? And that's really what I mean when I mean the full spectrum, all the dimensions. Because you see, elements of power are physical, mental, and spiritual. The word and definition for power is so vast, and I secretly and perhaps not so secretly believed owning our power is really owning our truth. So first, let's look back at the root of the word power, which comes from the French pouvoir, the Latin potens. And if you kind of dig a little around, it's always kind of the same meaning, like powerful means one who has power. But perhaps one of my favorite root definition is of the word power is of electrical supply. And perhaps I love this definition the most since in yoga and meditation, we think of our breath as just that, electrical supply, electricity, like power. And I don't know about you, but when there's no light in my house, well, it's dark. So in yoga and meditation, mindful living, having a creative mindset and outlet. And for me, all these things mash because they are all about connection. Well, in all these things too, we use awareness of breath as a home base. And get this, we think of our breath and think of it. Your breath is your light. It's like your electrical switch. It's your breath is your love. Your breath is your life force. And that last one is translated through the fancy yoga word prana, which you might have heard one or two yoga teachers blurt out. All this to say, your breath is your power. I'll repeat that again because it's so paramount. Your breath is your power. The fact that you are a living, breathing human listening to this podcast right now, that makes you alive, awake. That the fact that you have a breath, that makes you powerful. And seriously, if that's the only thing you get from SheQuest this summer, is that your breath is your power, then I will have done my job right. And it's kind of impossible to overview what power means to you as a full spectrum woman and not underline the tantric perspective and concept of the goddess Shakti into your summer's reflection. The yogic sages, most especially in the branch of yoga called Tantra, taught us that the divine feminine power is called Shakti. It's simple. In yoga, the word Shakti means power. We are, in essence, made of Shakti, and both male and female can harness Shakti. The divine masculine power is called Shiva, and its physical latitude and the energy of Shakti really lives at the base of our spine. And think of it as like it's ready to be awakened by our conscious breath, right? Our power, our electricity. Like think of a light switch lighting up your whole being. That's what happens when you do yoga, when you do art, you journal, when you engage with the world the way you were meant to engage with the world. And Shakti and Shiva are in a constant swirly dance. So essentially, again, when you do your SheQuest work this summer, whether that be meditation, yoga practice, deep listening, oracle card pulling, you are balancing the masculine and feminine energy within you, Shakti and Shiva. And I know it's hard at first to debunk Shiva and Shakti energy because our mind has been trained to think about it in terms of gender. But I want to stress that masculine and feminine magic has nothing to do with you being a male or a female in a female body, and more to do with looking beyond our assumption of masculinity and femininity. So for example, Shakti is known as this dark and messy, vulnerable, nurturing, chaotic. It's like the moon, it's the energy, the yin energy, and Shiva is willful and determined sun. It's the yang energy. And life is a continual attempt to balance these two forces in us, Sally Kepton is perhaps my most knowledgeable teacher on this. And for her, knowing Shakti is recognizing the power behind breath as the expression of the feminine. Without Shakti, we wouldn't have a heartbeat. There would be no energy like firing in our muscles and no impulses behind our thoughts. We inhabit both the male and female principle, and all power is essentially feminine force. Wow. Now take that, Mr. CEO. So I guess one of my biggest limiting belief around power, well, aside the fact that I've never had any conscious base for it, is that I believe power to be a finite thing. I believe that I'm not worth to be powerful, and perhaps I'll need material things to feel this longing. I wonder, what are your limiting beliefs around power? And knowing what you know now about power, can you widen your lens on what it means to be powerful as a woman today? My first ground technique is simple. I just want you to sit and uncross your leg, and I just want you to recognize your breath as the dance of the feminine and masculine within you. I love doing swirl motions with my hands, embodying that very dance of Shiva and Shakti. How can you sit here and connect with your breath? Can you follow the sound of the ins and outs of your breath? Feel your lungs inflating and deflating? 1 to 5 minutes. It's all it takes to make breath your ally, to make breath your power. The mantra for our power weeks is be still and breathe from the beautiful course. It will be on your course site. The passage read today, the beginning of the podcast, was from Marianne Williamson, a renowned spiritual leader that really kicked off our Power Week. The music in the intro has been graciously donated by the artist Jan Grant, whom I adore. You can find me always at EstelleThomson.com or Estelle Thomson on Instagram, where I'm most active. Yours in feeling alive from the inside, always, E-Star. Love you.